Hello YouTube, and welcome back to Executive Assault 2. Today we are finally continuing the tutorial series for this game. I know, I took a long time to get back to this. Lots of stuff came up, and honestly I wasn't sure that the tutorial videos were necessary or helpful. But I received some positive feedback on it, and speaking of positive feedback, I have a shout out to do for the first time on this channel, I think. A proper shout out. A day ago, I got a tip on my channel as a donation from Pooch USN. Tipped $50 and said, "Love the Executive Assault content. Your tutorial vid was really helpful. Keep posting videos, man. You're doing great. Also, good luck in your Supreme Commander tournament." I have a funny story to tell you guys real quick before we get started. So when this donation showed up in my PayPal, I had no idea why it was there or what it was, because I had never actually received a donation before via the donation link in my description, and I don't often talk about the donation link in my description. So I had no idea, and I sent him a very confused email like, "Yeah, did you mean to send me this? What's this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm sorry, I thought that was your donation link," and I was floored. So big shout out to Pooch USN, because that is just incredible. Absolutely made my day. And so now I am immediately motivated to just come finish these tutorial videos. For if nobody else, I know at least he's gonna watch them. So that's why we're here. So today we're doing the science tutorial. Last time we did the industrial tutorial. I have added it to a playlist, and this video will be in one as well. So first thing you want to know is that science does look a little bit different than industrial, but all the same screens are here, as well as the best coffee brand in the world. Let's just go ahead and get a sip of that right now. Delicious. So we're gonna sit in our chair.
Please
Now,
never make that sound again.
shut up, Coda. Yes, we have Coda here again, helping keep the AI busy while I do tutorial videos, so that I don't get rushed and killed by an AI while I'm yes, I could have entered without an AI. No, I didn't want to. So one thing I will say is that if you are looking for a discussion of what all of these buttons do and what all the resources are, I believe I covered that pretty adequately on the industrial video. I said I would do them all, but honestly, that took up a huge amount of my time in the last tutorial video, so I'm not going to do that this time. If you want to know that information, please go watch the first video, which was done on industrial. And in the meantime, if there's anything you feel is missing from that video or this one, please absolutely leave questions in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them as much as I can, or maybe I'll cover them in the next video, who knows. But for now, let's get started on science. So what should you do as a science? So let's note here we're starting our progress at about the 5-minute mark. First thing I like to do is build my Executron fighter bay directly next to my HQ. It makes for a quick, easy, and convenient escape for my CEO if I ever get in danger later. And it's also convenient for my Executron based on the way that I build my base. Obviously, you can build your base how you like, but for me, I like to start with your mining control center, of course. Your mining control center is going to build your mining outpost and be the offload point for your cargo ships when you start gathering resources. Very important. You absolutely should build that first every time. Of course, the fusion power plant will be next. I just realized that I built it on the top spot instead of the bottom spot like I usually do. Whoops, my bad. It's okay. Fix that nice and easy. And then last but not least, we of course need the trading port. There we go. I have words, I swear. So what do you do next? So next thing I like to do, you'll notice that it's going to build your first mining outpost ship immediately and for free, but you have 3 resources to gather in your starting system. So what I like to do is I like to go to unit design and go to docking bay, and go to economic, and I just queue up 2 more right away so that I can work on gathering all the resources that spawn in my starter system. Next up, I like to build my shipyard right away as well. And I actually like to go really early goods factory. Now, I will say that this is going to leave me pretty low on starting energy. So not everybody prefers to start this way. This is just what I like to do. However, I will say that if you do start this way, you will find that it's very easy for you to get promoted quickly, especially if you have an Executron or if you are able to focus on troops and go capture some early outposts. You will find yourself in a very good position pretty quickly. Next up, I like to immediately go to the shipyard that I've constructed and queue up my 2 command outposts and get them out nice and early. As soon as I get those command outposts, I will actually delete the shipyard. However, you don't have to do that. You can leave this shipyard and use it to start producing early ships as soon as your outposts are done building. If you go that route, I very much suggest going to your research and unlocking the Ares and some new weapons for the Ares as well. Speaking of research, the first thing we're going to do for ourselves here is we're actually going to get... I usually either get multi-threading first to double how fast I'm making bots, or I like to get the asteroid laser drill upgrade first, which I think is what I will do this time around. So don't forget to take your 2 mining outposts and just send them to your metal and your carbon. Claim those resources early. Keep in mind it's only been about 3 minutes of game because I started actually playing at about 5.5 minutes. It's now been 8.5 minutes, so we've got a solid 3 minutes of game going, and I've already set up my early resources and I'm producing my command outpost. So just keep that in mind. Get yourself in a good position early. The next thing I will like to do is so I still have about 4,000 energen left over. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my robots. So as science, your transfer method, which is the probes, is extremely effective as science. However, it is also quite slow. Additionally, as science, you are waiting on your cargo ships to come back and bring you goods. What I like to do is I will actually build a couple of these excavators. And I'll wait and see where my power stands when all of this is done building. Go to defensive, get your gateway facility, build that immediately, because you're going to come in here and you're going to immediately start building yourself some Z11s. The reason you're going to do this is because you want to, as soon as possible, send out a gateway probe and start capturing the nearby systems. You want to get any derelict outposts or anything of that nature that you can get your hands on. There's the self-destruct of the shipyard, like I mentioned. If we come over into this system, we'll see that Coda has graciously been out here capturing things for me already. But if I was by myself, what I would be doing as soon as this was done is I would be sending this gateway probe into one of these nearby systems directly next to me, and I would be sending it to go land on one of these and capture it, because what you do is you get 30 points from capturing an outpost. That way you only need to produce 30 goods before your first trader, or 20 goods rather, 20 goods before the first trader arrives, which will be in 3 minutes because I spent so long talking at the start. Oops, my bad. So but if you start playing immediately, unlike what I did in this video because I spent 5 minutes talking, you will find that it is extremely easy to get those 20 goods and capture one outpost right away. And if you manage to do that...
Not anymore because of the infestors. You have to send in a lot of troops if you want to capture something.
10 robots is more than enough. 10 is more than enough with the manual control, which is what I'm talking about. God, Coda, interrupt me. How about you just be a robot and do your job, all right? You don't have to yell at me, okay? You don't have to yell at me.
You don't have to yell at me.
You don't have to yell at me. No, messing with Coda. Please don't cancel me. Anyway, so if you start playing immediately instead of dicking around like I did, you will find that it's very easy to get this early goods factory, get up these excavators, and actually, since I have some extra power, I can actually come in here into my economy tab, and I do both. I can go straight to 200% power, and really amp up how quickly I'm getting the carbon here, and how quickly I'm producing goods from my goods factory, which is nice. I don't need to send this to Hazron, but I will just to say that I did. Also, even if there are raiders, as long as there's no large ships, if you send in either a single ship like a Dauntless or an Ares, or even just a starfighter or two, what you do is you will send the starfighter. So if I was by myself, instead of having Coda, what I would do is I would come to my trading port. I would go down here. Gross. I would go to design menu for my trading port. I would build a starfighter. You send the starfighter in first because all the raiders will focus on the first ship that enters the system, and you can just send it off to the side. You can send the gateway probe in directly after that, and then have it immediately go land at those outposts. And what that will do is it guarantees that your gateway probe will make contact and that you can send your first batch of guys in. And you can see, even with my 5 minutes of messing around at the beginning, I've already got myself in a pretty good early position here. Any second now, we should be getting deliveries from the various outposts I have collecting resources. Also, something that is important to do as science, you'll notice that especially for Energen and metal, carbon is less important, but for Energen specifically, you will see that you are producing Energen a lot faster than your one cargo ship can transport it. That will get better once you get your economy upgrades later on in the game, specifically the cargo ship upgrades, which increases their cargo space and offload speed, I believe. Once you start getting those, you will find that those asteroids empty out a lot quicker. But even with those, I usually like to build two mining outposts right away, or 2 cargo ships per mining outpost, excuse me. So I'll build 2 for this one, 2 for the carbon, and 2 for my metal. 2 for all of the asteroids in my home system to start with, and I'll probably step that up to 2 each for these resources as well, because once you're established in your home base, the next thing that you should do as science is incredibly important. Science must expand to other systems. Spy can get away with not expanding because of the way that the teleprobes work, so all they have to do is send a teleprobe and they can harvest. Industrial can get away with it because they can have a bunch of ships on just Energen and metal at the start and do okay up until up until the point where they really need to ramp up how fast they're producing ships and the quality of the ships that they're making. But for early to mid game, they can do just fine. Science, however, absolutely must expand rather quickly. So the first thing you want to do actually is when this first trader comes, if you do it right, you should be able to just about buy your if you don't mess around at the start like I did, you should be able to just about buy this command core. I know I've only got 5,500 right now, but if I had done more at the beginning, that would be a little bit better. If you don't have it, you can see that this guy still has 9,000 to almost 10,000 Energen. So if you're a little bit short, you could actually sell some of your early research data if you wanted to get it. If you find that you can't get it, because sometimes things do happen, you get an unlucky roll on the outpost that you're near, all kinds of things can happen. For example, I'm actually not going to promote off of this trader because my carbon did not deliver in time, because once again I spent the first 5.5 minutes doing nothing. But normally by this 15-minute mark where your first trader comes in, you're doing quite well economically. You've captured or have almost captured your first outpost. You've produced your 20 goods, meaning you will promote on your first trader, and that's ideal. The next thing that you want to do as science, very specifically, is firstly, I like to get up a couple Aries. So I'll come in here and I'll go to Space Tech. I'll research. I said I will research. There we go. I'll research the Aries. Some people prefer to skip these weapons upgrades in favor of just getting the broadsword. Sometimes I will find myself getting even the neutron lasers if I'm going for a very heavy fleet early on. But either way, just get yourself a couple ships. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just get a couple so that you can clear out the raiders that are in your neighboring systems. And the next thing you want to do is you want to immediately build another set of mining outpost ships. There are 3 resources, so this will be the next system that I take. So I can actually come back over here, mining control. I don't need 4 right now. I'll build 3. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these resources that are in the system. Now, if you've managed to buy the command outpost, like I said, from your first trader, first command, your third command core, I guess I should say, what you're going to do is you're going to send that command core and you're going to build it in the system you're expanding to. And the reason you're going to do that is because your cargo ships will fly to the nearest outpost rather than all the way back to your main base. If you don't have the command core yet, that's fine. Expand anyway. They'll make the trip to your main base, and then later when you eventually get your command core out there on your second trader, hopefully, they will switch to their destination, to the nearest command outpost. And you're going to build the space docking bay building on your command outpost that you send to your expansion. This one right here. Don't build it on these first 2. Send it to Send it to wherever you're expanding at, because that's got more offload spaces for extra cargo ships. Speaking of which, I'm going to build an extra research on this, which I'm immediately going to crank to 200%, because that way I only need one research outpost on, or one research building on this outpost. We'll use up all the power and do the same work as 2 research buildings for half the cost. I'm going to go ahead and crank up my ship production speed on this outpost to 200%. Because just like with industrial, you can afford 3 shipyards at maximum production speed and a titanium refinery once you promote, which I believe I have now thanks to Coda's efforts. Thank you, Coda, covering for all my chatting in the beginning of the video. So now that you've promoted, the next thing you want to do is you want to immediately go and build your titanium refinery somewhere. I build mine on right off my mining control center here. By now you should have another group of robots, either the leftovers from the first outpost you captured with the gateway probe, which I actually did not have to do simply because I was distracted. But you heard me say what to do. Do as I say, not as I do. But you can build more. By this point, if you've promoted, which you should have done, you should have some research points lying around. Go ahead and do yourself a favor. Get multi-threading. And get the gun upgrade for your robots. This will make them a lot more effective at what they do. Now, I will say that now that I've built this titanium refinery, I am low on power. So go ahead and bring your power back down. You can either bring it back down to normal, or at this point, your carbon production is no longer as important. You can turn off these excavators. You don't need them right now. I don't delete them because they can be useful later, but you don't need them at the moment because now your promotion speed is going to be more dependent on capturing outposts and killing enemy units, less on how many goods you can produce. At least not as reliant. It's still important. Definitely leave your goods factory running, but now that you'll be getting regular cargo deliveries from your carbon asteroid in your starter system, you don't need the excavators doing it. That was not my carbon asteroid. There's my carbon asteroid. So we're gonna... I believe that's about it. We're looking at 17 minutes on this video. By this point in the game, you should have promoted. You can go ahead and get yourself the broadswords. Broadswords are an excellent ship. If you go broadswords into matter beams and standard ship shields, which I will have rather quickly, you could have also bought some extra research from that first trader, which, once again, I failed to do. Best YouTuber. But you could buy some extra research so you can get that faster. Broadswords with matter beams and level 2 shields, or even just level 1 shields, is an excellent early game option that you can get by the 20-minute mark or sooner, and you can use it to start pushing out against your enemies. So let's recap real fast. Keep this video at below 20 minutes if I can. First thing you want to do is you want to build your mining control, your Executron Bay, your research, and your fusion power plant. Next up, you're going to get your trading port. You're going to get your goods factory. You're going to build a shipyard to build your 2 command outposts. You're going to queue up 2 additional mining outposts from your mining control center so that you can claim all of the starter resources in your main base. From the shipyard, you're going to get your 2 command outposts established. You're going to get troop production established pretty quickly. You're going to send a gateway probe accompanied by a starfighter to distract the raiders to immediately capture your first outpost as quickly as possible. Next thing you're going to look at is you're going to look at sending a command core, if you can afford one, into the nearby system so that you can expand your resourcing options as quickly as possible, because as science you desperately need to expand and hold. Usually 2 or 3 systems is enough, but make sure that one of those systems has Zeogas, because as science, Zeogas is incredibly important. Industrial specifically can sometimes get away with not getting it because their Tridents and their Titans are so much larger and have much more health. But as science, you need to get the red shields, you need to get the Trion beams and whatever else. You need to get to your invigilators and all of that. So you definitely need to take and hold some Zeogas. And from there, it's just a matter of ramping up. Manage your power in your power menu to increase how fast you get those early goods up. Make sure you promote on your first trader, and if you can promote on your first trader, you will be in an excellent position to start the match. Coda, anything that I've forgotten?
I do not think so.
Okay, so now let's keep in mind I spent 5 minutes messing around, so this timer should be at more like 16 or 17 minutes right now, which means that shortly after your first trader arrives and does its business with you, you should be in about the same position. You can see I've got pretty steady income, and I've promoted, so I can actually go to my economy tech and I can get even more upgrades. Next thing I'll get will be the cargo ship upgrade, so that my cargo ships are more effective, and just more. So once you've done this and you've expanded, I could expand to this system as well for the Energen and the metal ore. Coda has located Zeogas. There's some ships here guarding it, but now that I have broadswords, this would be absolutely no problem for me to handle. So by before 20 minutes, you should be promoted and in a really good position economically and research-wise to hold your own against any average or similarly skilled opponent, and that includes the AI. I use this very same AI build against the brutal AI when I do the 3v1 vids. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Spy tutorial coming soon. See you guys in the next video.